Back on the live, DG Sax, Peter Hostrasser. That's Derrick Griffin. How you doing, man?
Man, not bad, man. Can't complain. Got a few events coming up this week. Couple weddings. It's February, but love is in the air, man. So,
Yes, that is true.
yeah,
Um, yeah, man, it's a weird here. If anybody's in the Midwest, the weather's all over the place, man. Like I saw a couple
yeah.
motorcycles out today. You don't see that around Chicago in February,
Nah,
but you do in
definitely don't.
2024, evidently. So
There you go.
some crazy stuff. We just had a quick conversation before we jumped on here. One of the things that I'm working with students is all about, really staying consistent. You get
Yeah,
the excitable moment, but then it drops. But consistency is the long run.
for
And,
sure.
just reading up on a few strategies. And one of the strategies that I pass along with the students was, writing down three things every morning that you want to be focused on for that day, and then going out and killing it and making it happen, like doing the great piece with that. So that kind of thought, I was like, you know what, I really want to ask you, as a performer, when you're going to go work with a client, what are like your three things that you usually focus on? Not all the time because there's different places, but like your three things
Sure.
that you focus on.
Yeah, so first three things, like when I think about pre-performance, first thing is finding out like, what's the theme of the event, right? Is it like a business event? Is it more, hey, we're trying to have a party, we're trying to celebrate something, just so I kind of know like tone wise how I need to approach the event. Because sometimes I may come in with the impression like, oh, I need to come in with a more higher energy party dance, like let me try to vibe with the room, but sometimes that doesn't always, the room doesn't always ask for that. So, if it's more of a networking space, I want to be able to provide a space that not only gives good music, but it gives the space for people to be able to talk and have intellectual conversations with each other, be able to conduct business perhaps with one another, right? So that's step one, knowing the vibe, knowing the theme of the event. The next thing is when I get to an event, within the first 15 minutes of me setting up, I want to have music playing. Like I want that to be the conversation. Like,
Mhm.
that's the thing about music. Music is a conversation.
Yeah.
You don't have to speak to have a conversation. A lot of music can tell you right away about a person's style, perhaps, what they like, maybe tone wise, what you can expect from that performer, right? And I think for me, it's always like a first impression thing, like you never want to come out of the box for me personally, too, out there where like, the beat is too high or,
Mhm.
it's just blazing loud with bass and like you're unable to have a halfway decent conversation. So I think for me, like getting the music going right away, having something fill up the room, will automatically bring attention to you as the performer. People are starting to put eyes on you. They're like, oh, what's this guy doing? And then like I think step three is like within the first 5 minutes of me performing, getting that initial feedback, whether that's from the planner, like volume wise, sound wise, because half of it is just having a quality sound, right? You don't have to be the most talented musician, creator, painter, but if your setup is clean, right? If your sound is crisp, people are going to believe in your performance just off of that, 10 times more than the person that may not have the full aesthetic and the sound quality. And, as a creator, if you're in a position to invest in yourself, don't look back saying, well, why didn't I get that $800 speaker, 5 years ago? That $800 speaker has now paid me off tenfold. And I don't think twice about it now. Initially I'm like, man, this is a lot of money, but man, it's paid off dividends. And like, I know when I plug it up, it's going to give the response I need, and a client's going to let me know right away, like, oh yeah, DG, this sounds great. Or, hey, do you mind turning it down just a tad? And then
Mhm.
as the night goes on, I know how to adjust appropriately. And I want that feedback. It's
Yeah.
very vital. So those would be my first three things that come to mind.
Yeah, I like that. The very focused, the vibe, 15 minutes up where we've got music, and then
Yeah.
5 minutes into that, getting some feedback. Now, two of those three kind of have to do with those tools that you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I work on the car with my son. Actually, he's still
Yeah.
teaching me stuff, but if you have the
Nice.
wrong tools for any job, it is a lengthy terrible process, right? Um,
Absolutely.
what are your like 2 or 3 must-have tools that, hey, they may be that $500-800 or whatever, but
Yeah.
what are the things that you would maybe request somebody who would be in this situation? What are going to get you up playing music fast and
Yeah.
getting good feedback? What are your tools, man?
Yeah, absolutely. So you gotta have quality cables, right?
Mhm.
You'd be surprised. Some of these cables go for as much as like $50. I'm just like, man, like for a cable, but over time, there's wear and tear. You're folding them up, you're putting
Mhm.
them back for a gig, you're setting up for another event, maybe 2 hours later, and you gotta have the durability, right? You don't want to have to
Mhm.
go back and reinvest into something that you just bought initially. And then, like I think just having a backup for the backup too, right? Like not just having one cord, but like really thinking about emergency or worst case scenario if something were to give out on you, do you have something that you could replace with that? But ultimately, like having a speaker that is going to be able to provide you the sound that you need is definitely essential, number one. And then also for the type of instrument that you may perform as a musician, having a microphone, a really quality microphone, is very key. I've had some microphones that are wireless; they work great. Sound quality is great, but the life on that, the battery life is not the great. So being able to have that sustainability is very key. I started off with like a $600 mic system, which I thought was going to be, something that would last me forever. Come to find out, I'm like, wait, I don't know if this is going to work long term. And so I had to kind of reevaluate. And had I knew what I knew then, I obviously would have went right out of the gate with the next system. Shout out to Shure microphones. If people are looking for a good setup, Shure has great audio products and will take care of you on all levels for any type of performance that you're doing. So
Yeah, like that.
yeah.
You don't have a gold mic, do you? Some of these
I'm
really
working on the
wealthy
gold plated, right?
gold plated mics and or platinum plated. So, hey,
I
I
need to get
like
a
it, man.
mic
Thank you
like
so much, man,
Snoop
for
Dogg.
sharing. So you have like vibe, but everybody out there, this guy shows up, within
Yeah.
15 minutes, there's going to be some music playing and then,
Yeah.
giving them feedback. That's also important on the customer side. If it's good, if it's bad, look, if
Super.
it's bad, it's okay, right? It's okay. We'll probably
Yeah.
do another live on that, but, it probably won't be with this guy because he's got good cables. I know the cables thing, man. That's awesome. And
Yeah,
speakers.
man.
So
Absolutely.
again, it is still slightly early in the season, but it's finishing fast when we start to
Yeah,
book
man.
people. Take a look at dgsax.com. Derrick Griffin
Yeah.
here for DG Sax. I'm Peter Hostrasser, disrupteducation.co. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us on the live today.
Appreciate it.